Hi, my name's Vince Sheehan, and today I'd like to talk about Doctor Who, The Daleks' Master Plan. And I'd like to go through this story from season 3 of the classic series, exploring how the plot is put together as well as some of the themes that crop up in this story. The Daleks' Master Plan is this sprawling epic of a Doctor Who story. Sadly, most of it's missing. There's a couple of episodes which survive, but I watched it with the soundtrack on a reconstruction. And I have to say, now the story, now we've had a hint of this story already with Mission to the Unknown, which was that single episode before the Mythmakers. So that was really an introduction to this story. And we begin in the first episode. There's 12 episodes in this story. We're back to the planet Kemble again. This is the planet where Mark Corey, if you remember from Mission to Unknown, discovered what the Daleks were up to and was about to warn Earth, but was stopped in his tracks by the Daleks. Well, we're back on Kemble, and there's this guy called Brett Vion, who's another secret agent, space agent, played by Nicholas Courtney, his first appearance in Doctor Who. And he is looking for Mark Corey. He wants to know what's happened to him. In the meantime, the Doctor turns up with Stephen and Katerina. Katerina, of course, was the Trojan servant girl from the Mythmakers. And Stephen's not feeling too good. He needs some medical attention. So the Doctor stops off at Kemble to find something to help Stephen. But then the Doctor witnesses this sinister character called Marvick Chen, played by Kevin Stoney. He sees him meet with the Daleks, and the Doctor knows something is not quite right. The second episode, we're introduced to the Time Destructor. This is this weapon of mass destruction which the Daleks want to use to bring the solar system to its knees. And there's this Space Council, who we've met already from Mission to Unknown, who are in league with the Daleks, and they want their slice of the pie. And Marvick Chen, who's from Earth, seems to be the main figure in this Space Council. And he holds the cards because he has managed to source terranium, which is the essential element for the Time Destructor to work. And he's got it together, this extremely rare and precious element, to put in the Time Destructor. However, the Doctor disguises himself as one of the other delegates and manages to steal this terranium. In episode 3, the Doctor and his companions, Stephen, Katerina, and Brett, the space agents, flee Kemble in Marvick Chen's spaceship, which is called the Spar, and they're forced to land on this planet called Desperus, which is like this prison planet. Episode 4, we realise that Marvick Chen is a slippery character who will stab his colleagues in the Space Council in the back. He's not to be trusted, if we didn't know that already. And the Doctor and co managed to escape from Desperus after making some repairs. But there's this guy from the planet, this prisoner, who wants to hold them hostage and hijack the ship. But Katerina saves the day by sacrificing her own life by operating the airlock and thus ejecting this villain. The Doctor then lands on Earth, trying to warn Earth about the Daleks' plans. But no sooner as they're out, Brett is killed by this other space agent called Sarah Kingdom. In episode 5, in this weird chain of events, the Doctor and Sarah and Stephen are transported via this matter transportation device to the planet Myra. And the Doctor, of course, is still in possession of the terranium. Marvick Chen finds out about this. and he tells the Daleks to find them. Myra is populated by these invisible creatures, and when the Daleks arrive at this place to get the Terranium back, they're attacked by these invisible creatures, and the Doctor, Stephen and Sarah manage to give them the slip. In episode 6, the Doctor actually gives the Daleks a replica of the Terranium core, going away on his travels with Sarah and Stephen with the real core. Episode 7 is kind of a joke episode. The Doctor lands in 1960s Great Britain, and a police station of all places, and it's just before Christmas Day, and the Doctor and his companions are engaging with the police officers, and they're kind of causing havoc in this Northern English police station. And then off they go again, and they end up on a Hollywood film set, perhaps of the 1920s. And again, they're creating havoc around this set. And it's here that the Doctor wishes all the viewers at home, breaking the fourth wall, a Merry Christmas. Episode 8, we're reintroduced to the monk. If you remember, he was the antagonist in the Time Meddler in season 2. Well, he returns and he wants vengeance for the way the Doctor left him stranded in 11th century England. But ultimately the Doctor thwarts the monk, and he's left on this kind of volcanic, unstable planet. However, in episode 9, by now the action's on ancient Egypt, the Daleks employ the monk to go and find the Doctor to retrieve the Terranium core. And eventually the Doctor is actually forced to return the Terranium core to the Daleks under the threat of his companions being killed. But they manage to escape the Daleks, and the Doctor has stolen the monk's directional circuit from his TARDIS so they can get to Kemble. And this time the monk is in a TARDIS which can't find its way around the universe, and he's found on this icy planet at the end of the episode. In episode 11, the Daleks turn on the Space Council, including Marvick Chen. Now they've got the Terranium, they don't need these people anymore, so they lock them up. But Sarah and Stephen, who are now back on Kemble, eventually free them, but then are betrayed by Marvick Chen and are led to the Daleks' underground base. Marvick Chen still seems to think that he has some say in the Daleks' master plan. But how wrong he is, because in the final episode of this story, Marvick Chen is killed by the Daleks, and the Doctor activates the Time Destructor. He realises that if he does this before the Daleks, he can destroy them on Kemble before they can inflict their evil on the rest of the galaxy. And however, this has terrible effects on the Doctor. This Time Destructor is distorting time all around them, including the Doctor who's carrying it. And Sarah Kingdom, who's supposed to be a Stephen in the TARDIS, comes back to help the Doctor, and she feels its terrible effects more than anyone else, and she ages rapidly and is eventually reduced to dust. Eventually Stephen finds that the Doctor on the verge of death or regeneration with the Time Destructor. He flips the switch, putting it in reverse if you like. This gives the Doctor some energy. He's able to get up, move away from it, but then the Daleks arrive, but they're being messed up now by the Time Destructor, and they're being reduced to their kind of embryonic, organic origins. With the destruction of the Daleks, Kemble itself is now a wasteland, and the Doctor and Stephen mourn the loss of the companions who have died in this epic story. So what to make of the Daleks' master plan? I guess if you count Mission to the Unknown as well, it's like 13 episodes, and as you'd expect from such a long story, it is uneven in quality, but on balance it is very enjoyable. And it goes in some interesting new directions for Doctor Who. First of all, there's the death of no less than 3 companions. We've never had a death of a companion before this. And to have 3 companions die, albeit we only know them from this story, or in Katarina's case, the story before, it's still a new, quite a bold move by Doctor Who, which of course is a children's programme. But those deaths do give this story some power. It shows that the Daleks are a real force of evil, and, you know, things aren't plain sailing. People die, and it is quite striking that Brett, who, you know, we get quite attached to, and Nicholas Courtney, of course, is such a charismatic figure on the screen, who, of course, we will see a lot more of in future stories. But then Katarina, who dies in a rather touching way, giving up her life, self-sacrifice, and indeed Sarah Kingdom, who seems to be a real kind of vibrant, powerful character. You know, and there's even a little bit of depth about her killing her brother at the beginning and the journey she goes on. So it really is an intriguing element of this story that some of the good guys die. And Marvick Chen, you know, he's a real pantomime villain, you know, and he's a really memorable villain. A bit like The Chase in the season 2, it's a great joy to see how wide-ranging this story is. We're going all over the galaxy here, going through different time zones, and even on the episodes on planet Earth, we're in 60s Britain, ancient Egypt, 20s Hollywood, and it's just, you know, one of those stories you can get lost in. And the humour in this story is good as well. I mean, the episode 7, which is basically just a break in proceedings, although it's white, from listening to the audio and following the screen, following the production stills, there is a great sense of joy and laughter in this episode. And when the Doctor breaks the fourth wall at the end and talks to the audience at home, you know, that must have been so thrilling for those children watching Doctor Who, you know, in the grip of Dalek mania in that Christmas 1965. It's great to see the monk come back as well. He's a really interesting and comic villain. And also, the final episode has got real depth to it and a real power to it. Again, although it's white, listening to the audio and seeing the stills, the way they've done Sarah's ageing is actually quite terrifying when you look at it. And the way you see the Doctor on the verge of death, it looks like, you know, perhaps regeneration from hindsight. That's powerful as well. I don't think we've seen a Doctor in that state before. Again, highlighting how high the stakes are in this story. And it's extremely touching to hear the Doctor and Stephen talk about the waste of life through this story about those 3 companions have died. It really hits a sombre note right at the end of this epic story. Again, a brave move. You know, you'd expect a happy ending, but it isn't quite like that. Yes, the galaxy, the solar system saved, but at a great cost. The Daleks, on the whole, are pretty effective. We have the Dalek Supreme, of course, at the forefront. Perhaps by this stage they're kind of relegated to basically chasing the Doctor around the universe, a bit like The Chase in season 2. But there's arguably less comedy with the Daleks in this story than in The Chase. And also, you do get to experience their ruthlessness in this story, the way they kill a delegate in episode 2 and the way they kill Marvick Chen at the end. And it's also pretty cool to see their embryos or their innards again, you know, that kind of tentacled green thing. It's nice to see that again at the end. So yeah, the Daleks' master plan, although uneven, And although I'll have to say Stephen isn't my favourite companion, it is a very enjoyable story and definitely well worth getting a reconstruction or listening to the audio and just getting lost in this epic 12-parter. Thanks for watching. There's just a brief slideshow with just a synopsis of what each of the episodes is about, as well as some of the themes that crop up. Bye.